Welcome to the Happy Mindset, where we use the power of language and storytelling to help you find your voice. Today's episode is episode number 46, and today's episode title is Experimentation Mindset. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience with experimentation, about it being a mindset, and about how it's helped me over the past 7 months, especially as I've gone freelancing. So today I'm going to talk about some of the lessons I've learned from that. I'm going to talk about what actually happened in that time as well. In that time, I've moved in with my parents for a little bit. Initially, that was quite difficult as a 30-year-old. Somebody just turned 30 last year, to have to move back in with my parents after a long time of independence myself. Today, I'm going to share what I learned in that time, what I've actually been doing, and how an experimentation mindset has actually helped me to figure out my own path over the last few months. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope it provides some perspective and clarity for a situation you might be in right now. And if you enjoyed today's episode, I would appreciate it if you can leave a rating and a review. And if you want to head over to Facebook, you can join the Happy Mindset group there. So thanks again for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the experimentation mindset. So this is a mindset, it's a way of looking at the world that I found to be very beneficial in recent years, especially over the last 7 or 8 months, where I've gone experimenting with freelancing. So I've been focused on making freelancing work for me, because at the end of last year, one of my main things was that I wanted that freedom of working from anywhere. What ended up happening for me was that the freelancing didn't work out. I suppose there's an argument that maybe I was doing a lot of different things, and maybe that's why it didn't work out. There is the argument that you burn your boats and you fixate on one thing and focus on one thing to make it work. I found that doesn't suit my personality that well. I don't like that amount of risk, and I've had the experience in the past where I've been obsessively focused on one thing to the detriment to my own mental health and well-being, and it just doesn't work for me. It works for some people, but it doesn't work for me. So today I'm doing the podcast for people who are similar to my nature, so that it gives you more of a perspective around how do you go about chasing something you want to do in the world, yet also be respectful of how you operate and what your tolerance to risk is like and how you naturally are. So just to give some perspective, over the last 7 or 8 months, I've tried the freelancing thing. It hasn't worked out for me for whatever reason right now, but in that time I've also been open to other things. So I've had the opportunity to write a book, so I've been working on that as well the past 7 months. I've been just consistently doing a small bit of work every day. That's what my nature is like. I do consistent work each day. Kind of like I suppose I approach life as an elephant, where I just take one chunk at a time, eating the elephant. That's kind of my nature. I like playing the long-term game, and that's how I approach the book. The other thing I realized from this time was that I like doing the podcast. I like meeting new people. I like sharing ideas. I like hearing about different stories. That's kind of my medium. And now that I've had more of an experimentation mindset as well, I don't go black and white in things as like a corporate job is evil or that type of thing. Like, I found just from being around freelance communities and just around different communities that there is a tendency to position it in a way that a corporate job is the biggest of all evils, is selling your soul, that type of thing. But my experience is not fully like that. The main thing for me is that I'm doing work, I'm doing something that I find meaningful, that I find there's a purpose to it, and I'm also balancing that with actually paying the bills consistently. And I guess I've been lucky too that I've had family, and I've had that I can rely on, and I've got different options and stuff. So it's really like knowing where you are right now, knowing what your options are, and knowing your tolerance to risk. So I just found with an experimentation mindset that really helps, and that's why I wanted to share that today, because I didn't know about this only from experience. I guess looking back in the last few years too, some things on a surface level, they have worked for me. I've learned different languages. I've become a polyglot. I've learned computer programming languages. I've learned computers, how to understand them better. But there's lots of things I've experimented with that on the surface haven't been a success, like the freelancing, that on the surface level hasn't been a success for me. I've tried coaching, that hasn't really worked out for me, it hasn't aligned well with me. I've tried building different websites. I think the first website I built was Efficient Languages, which was about teaching people how to go about learning a language differently based around word usage frequency. So initially when I was creating that website, I thought this is a great idea, people will get it, but what I found out in reality is that nobody got what the hell it was about. So that was humbling experience for me, but it's been like that over the years. There's been some things that have worked for me, and there's a lot of things that haven't worked for me, but from having an experimentation mindset, from being adaptable, I've learned lessons from the things that haven't worked. Sometimes as well, you'll try something, you realize this isn't actually for me. Sometimes I guess my experience has been that there's a lot of self-limiting beliefs that'll hold you back that you need to overcome. But sometimes you don't even need to overcome a self-limiting belief. Sometimes it's just not for you. It just doesn't align with you. So I found from experimentation, from actual experiential learning, you figure these things out. You can figure them out by not taking action on things. So anyway, that's been my experience with the experimental mindset. It's something I find that's really important in my journey. That's why I wanted to share it today. If you're of a similar nature to me, this can be potentially a new way of looking at the world that will help you to make progress in your life on both a practical level and also on a level that you find meaning and purpose and direction in your life, because I think both are very important to have in your life. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you enjoy it, then leave a rating and review for other people to find this podcast. And until next time, have fun and enjoy the process.